Good morning, dear students. Prep 2. Now we are going to have our mid-year revision for the novel for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. First of all, I'd like to tell you that it's not a matter of writing too much lines while answering your questions or your novel questions. It's a matter of writing to be to the point. And be out of your mind. Okay, concerning the revision questions, we have question number 1. What did the description of Mr. Utterson indicate? It indicated that Mr. Utterson was a perfect, typical Victorian who cared only about his reputation, an owner seeking perfection and following the strict moral rules. And he cared only about moralities and manners and never cared about desires, feelings, or pleasures. Why did Mr. Utterson decide to uncover the mysterious relationship between Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Mr. Utterson decided to uncover this mystery out of his friendship and loyalty to Dr. Jekyll and out of his desire to keep Jekyll's reputation and respectability. Question number 3. How did Dr. Jekyll assure Mr. Utterson that there was no danger in his will? Dr. Jekyll assured Mr. Utterson that there was no danger in his will, saying that he was in a delicate situation, but it wasn't as bad as he imagined. He told him that he could get rid of Hyde whenever he wanted. Concerning the quotations, number 1, he would clearly have liked to refuse, but he could see there was something dangerous in our anger, so at last he agreed. These words were said by Mr. Enfield to Mr. Utterson as he was telling Mr. Utterson the story of the evil Hyde and the little girl that he ran into. Then he walked on her little body carelessly like a pitiless machine. Mr. Enfield and the doctor forced Hyde to pay £100 to the girl's family, and he had to pay the money because they threatened to tell everybody in London about his evil deed if he refused to pay the money. Really, I thought that as doctors you had common interest. Mr. Utterson said these words to Dr. Lanyon when he visited him in his house to ask him about Dr. Jekyll and his relationship with Mr. Hyde. Dr. Lanyon shocked Mr. Utterson when he told him that he hadn't been in good terms with Dr. Jekyll for 10 years, and they quarreled about some wrong scientific ideas and that Dr. Jekyll adopted. At the same time, Dr. Lanyon thought that Mr. Hyde might be Jekyll's new friend. Number 3. Good, but since we have touched on this business for the last time, I hope, there is one point I should like you to understand. These words were said by Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Utterson in Jekyll's house when Mr. Utterson started to talk about Dr. Jekyll's will, saying that he learned shameful information about Hyde in a trial to advise Jekyll about his will. And Dr. Jekyll asked him to drop the whole matter and never to mention it again. He also asked him to promise him to be patient with Hyde and help him get his rights in case Dr. Jekyll wasn't there. Hope you very good time.